What's going on, guys? This is Witz here, and we're here bringing you the Week 1 Power Rankings. I'm here with my co-host, Tailwind.
Hey, what's up, guys?
We saw your comments. We saw some things that you guys said, and we're going to take that into account, especially the fact that we kept it a little bit more fast-paced, so we're going to try and keep it that way throughout the remainder of the series, unless you guys want things to change. Why don't we jump right in then, since we're keeping things fast-paced. Week 1 is very hard to rank things like 1 to 12 because you only have 1 week to go on. You have the draft and then this to go on. So we kind of differed a little bit, but we also were the same in a couple. A lot of them were interchangeable just because of the amount of power that was brought, the amount of things that were misplayed or were perfect in the match, very synergized. So we both agreed on 12
Yeah,
with Team Mythical.
yeah.
I
Team
think,
Mythical.
Toby, you want to start with that?
Yeah, Team Mythical had a bunch, like openly said that they had a bunch of misplays and they didn't play as well as they wanted to, and it did result in a 5-0 loss, which is quite a hefty score to take in the first week.
Yeah, especially here when one of the big things is differential, one of the tiebreakers. I think what did it for me as well is not just the misplays, but there was also the forgetting of different things, whether it was um, that I saw that happen twice. I know, like when you clicked it, and then once you back out, you got to re-click it, and yeah, when that didn't happen, I think that was one of the key reasons why it was a 5-0 is the Raichu was still there, and
Yeah,
when the Raichu would have been dead.
yeah. It is that Raichu also did give them a lot of problems with the extra attack that we'll get to when we get there. Um, but
I think their prep was fine. I
Yeah, they
mean,
had good prep. I mean, I'm interested to see what they wanted to do with that Cresselia, with the skill swap, but I don't think it came, and I don't quite remember. I'll have to. No, it didn't
no,
come.
it was there. It was
Yeah,
there.
yeah. They didn't get to pull off his skill swap, so I would want to see their interesting like teams and how they play out for the rest of the season. But as it is week one, and they were the only team to get a 5-0.
Yeah, that was one of the main reasons why we had him down there.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't we move on to team subs? We both had them at team 11 at team 11.
Team 11.
Yeah, team
Yeah.
11. We both had them at for the 11th spot in our
Yeah.
rankings. And,
You can lead with this
yeah,
one.
so all right, so with team subs, they were it was a pretty one-sided battle from what I saw. I mean, they didn't really have much control at all. Um, then, like going in with their team of, uh, sorry, I'm blanking here. Oh yeah, they had the Mega Lucario, they had the Clefable, they had
Crobat.
the
They had Crobat. They
yeah,
also
yeah,
had um they had
Munium Z.
yeah,
That was the
Mew,
main thing I wanted to bring up. Yeah,
Seismitoad, and Hitmontop.
yeah. So when it came to that Mew, I feel like they burned that Z Crystal too early. You see on the other side of the field, there's two Tapus.
Yeah.
It's going to be a huge terrain war. I know it does a lot of damage, but when it comes to controlling terrain, especially when you're facing two Tapus, even if they're on the same side, so Team Wee Disney was able to control whether or not to bring which terrain in. I mean, even though they only brought one that week, but still they had the option of two different terrains that could have been brought in to then immediately get rid of the psychic terrain. So
Yeah.
I think that was a little bit of a misplay, but
Um
that's also just from my
it
end. I
was
don't know
also
if
because in the battle, Luke was saying that the Silver Valley was poison or fairy because it was pink.
yeah,
Think that you guys need to actually look at the bottom screen where it does say if it's super effective or not, and it tells you the type of the Silver Valley.
yeah,
For future references for all teams when they're facing a Silver Valley or anything that changes type.
yeah. That was another big thing. Otherwise, they had pretty good sets. I mean, they were protecting a lot, but that's to be expected in a multi league. So, but I feel like they were kind of over protecting
Yeah, I think they were
because
protecting a bit too often, and it allowed Team We Disney to get a lot of momentum, like with the early double switch, them not taking any damage because of the first turn double protect, allowing them to get in the mons that they needed to on the first turn.
Yeah. All right. I think that's all I had to say about them. Was
Yeah,
that? Are you good? Or
yeah. Well, as I said, it is the first week. This could quite easy change. They could jump up quite a few spots. It all depends on how well they play
mhm.
next week. It was a 4-0, which was unfortunate for them. Team We Disney were on top of it. So yeah, that's why they're in at number 11. So yeah, let's
All
move on.
right. So the next three that we have, they're pretty interchangeable for us. We have, but it was this combination of people. It was Team Juice, Team Leaky, and Team Blue Hunted. So we had those three inside the 8, 9, and 10 slot. Why don't we talk about your number 10 first? And that was Team Leaky.
Yeah. Team Leaky, even though they came out with a win, um, I think that they played very well, and they did end up coming out with a win over Blue Hornets. I just feel like they got a little bit too confident at the end. I know that they did have a reason to be confident, but they noticed near the end that they did have that Team Blue Hornets did have a win con, and it did scare them a little bit. So I thought for that little bit of an overconfidence, if it would have cost them the game, it was a bit of a problem. But they did come out with a win, so they could move up above Blue Hornets. For now, obviously they'll have an edge in the next week if they get like a 5-0 and Blue Hornets gets a 5-0 too, because they obviously have two wins. But I feel like
Mhm.
getting a little bit too confident near the end. The exchange of Z moves was quite nice to see. Z moves being used.
Yeah, I think that recreation was also a big deal in this one as
Yeah,
well because it led to the Rotom living as opposed to the Rotom being crit and
yeah.
dying. Oh, yeah,
There's a lot of things, and obviously this is going off based off the one that was recreated. So the match did play out a lot differently, being a 1-0. It could have been, even a 3-0 if the Rotom Heat was gone, because Necrozma would have still been alive. I'm pretty sure. So, yep, it is. These three are very close. There were places where I could have moved them up. There are places where I could have moved them down. I like the way Blue Hornets managed to pull it back quite nicely, which is why I've got them one spot ahead.
yeah, and I have them Blue Hornets at 10 for me. Mainly because it was a really close match, and this is nothing on them. I just think the other teams did better.
Yeah,
This is this. It's literally only because the other teams did better than they did. I can't
yeah,
or anything. Like they played really well. They pretty much did what they were supposed to do in a lot of occasions. I mean, it was one time where I think they could have protected on the Sharpedo to get the speed boost, but because that might have helped out in the end, but um,
yeah.
because
Uh,
everybody else did better.
yeah, they both did really well. They're not no teams did bad except for Mythical with the misplays, unfortunately for them. Um, but these two, the other teams just played a lot better with their, even the losing teams just played a little bit better. So that's why they're both down quite low. But
Mhm.
it
And
was a
then
good it was
you,
a good game.
yeah. All right. So next we'll move on to Team Juice. We both had them at 8. So why don't you actually you took the lead on the last one. I'll take the lead on Team Juice.
Okay.
They played their early game was really 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 good. I loved their early game, the way they were able to play in, and then but as the match went on, they kind of let the Magirna set up, and
Yeah.
just mainly just like things were dying. They weren't targeting down the Magirna. Yeah, they got a little unlucky with the ancient power boost, but and just everything that was going on, but they
They
they just
didn't. Yeah, they didn't.
underestimated Magirna. I
Yeah,
mean,
they didn't assess the threat early. It
it lived
was.
too long.
Yeah, it got seven. It started getting kills at turn 7. That was. I can understand that it's not going to go down every turn with follow me support and stuff like that. But I feel like it shouldn't have been slept on as much as it was. They don't get me wrong, they did play around it really well. Obviously they couldn't stop it as it is in Beginner. Getting a special attack boost every time something dies is a bit busted. So they couldn't really stop it in the late game with the amazing sticky webs up. So, but I just feel like maybe it should have been assessed a little bit more, or maybe some sort of hazard control if they have any. Could have been brought just because of how predictable the sticky webs may have been.
Yeah. All right. So the next three that we have, these were also interchangeable for us. Well, 6 and 7 were interchangeable, but five was the same. We had so number 7, you have Team Jamie, and I have Team Jamie at 6, and then at 6 you have Not Scald, and I have Not Scald at 7.
Mm.
Um, so let's talk about Not Scald first. So I had them at 7, and a lot of it is based on hacks.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a very. There was
that was
also,
that.
not to mention the recreation going in their favor too.
Yeah, yeah, getting the Garchomp out of fake out range, but that freeze, that freeze was that was bad.
Yeah, but as people say, it is Pokemon, and
Yeah,
these things happen.
yeah, but I mean, besides that, they played really well against Team Dream Ball.
Yeah,
They were able to use their
their Buzzwole, they used their Buzzwole
oh,
really
Buzzwole
well.
was amazing. I love that Buzzwole set.
Um, I've got to say, I loved the corkscrew crash in the Buzzwole animation. Fantastic, flexing all the way. Highlight of that match. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah,
it was just like a back and forth of heavy hits, deaths for each team, and just coming down to a Bronzong versus Suicune finale because of the freeze.
yeah.
They did play well, and they brought great sets. Um,
hmm The acid downpour was a great call
yep, and didn't that go
on
in?
the Buzzwole.
Didn't that go out of their favor with the amount of health they had left for not scoring in the recreation?
No, that was fine. It was the
Because I swear I remember going down to red with the first one and then being in yellow. It
that's
doesn't really matter.
possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I remember them saying it allowed it to be alive a little bit longer or something like that.
hmm
But both teams were on the end of hacks. There were some hacks in Dream Ball's favor, and there were hacks in, um, like with the in not school favor, like the end game Bronzong missing with Zen Headbutt, making it take damage and actually making it lose to the Suicune because it was choice banded.
hmm All right. So with that, I think we can move on to Team Jamie. You had them at 7. I had them at 6. So why don't you explain why you have them a little lower?
Um, I have them lower because of how heavily they relied on the Trick Room. I did like the Trick Room team. I just felt that they didn't really utilize the Trick Room team, like making their Blastoise and Min Speed. I know, well, in the team builder it says Min Speed, and that could have messed them up because it's the same speed as their Blastoise, as team. What was
Drinking birds.
yeah, Drinking Birds Blastoise, making their Fake Out go first. So if they were going for a Fake Out variant where they could actually get off the Trick Room, I feel like they should have made their Blastoise maybe speed creep the other Blastoise if they didn't. Basically, the
hmm
team builder that I've got in front of me, it's a zero IV speed Blastoise. So I feel like if they were to go Trick Room, they should have worked around the other Fake Out user on the other side.
Yeah, that makes sense. But with everything that happened in the game, they were able to bring it back
Oh yeah,
to a 1-0 differential with everything that happened with between all the DCs that happened or between the recreations. The behind the scenes was hysterical. If you guys if you haven't seen that, go to their channel. It's absolutely hysterical. Um, but yeah, with everything that happens and they were able to bring it back to a 1-0,
yeah,
and I can't give them enough props. I mean, it's a great team in Team Drinking Birds, and the way they were able to bounce it back with the smart plays between burning the Metagross and then we're able to focus down the other side and let that Metagross just keep attacking the defensive Rotom so the Rotom could wear down the other side of the field.
yeah, yeah.
So that was great.
They played the Rotom
Um,
very well as well.
yeah, that Rotom fan was definitely played well. The sleep powder misses were huge, but
Yeah,
I was
I
able to let them get up the trick room to get back
yeah.
into the game. But
I
I
did.
mean,
Yeah, actually, I'll get to this point when we get to Drinking Birds. So I was about to talk about one of their sets, but I'll wait for that. But yeah, it was a very good match. Team Jamie pulled it back very well. Um, but yeah, that means that we both have Dream Ball at 5.
yep.
Yeah, we agreed on Dream Ball. Unfortunately for Not Scored, Dream Ball did play better than them, but the hacks was in Not Scored favor, which allowed them to take the loss. Um,
Yeah, you could hear the frustration that was going on too. But
yeah.
with everything that was going on, Dream Paul played
Oh, they played
with the
fantastically.
situation that they were given with. They played out of their minds. I mean, with everything that was going on,
I
and we can't knock them just because of hacks.
Yeah. I did really like the choice band Bronzong. Um, I feel like if that didn't miss if that didn't miss the Boswell and didn't take any extra damage, it probably would have won unless it got burnt, which it didn't. So, granted, I think in the situation the Bronzong would have 1v1'd the Suicune if the Zen Headbutt didn't miss. So,
Mhm.
taking it down to that point where they probably would have won is why I put them above not scored.
Well, between that and then the prediction, the 50-50 on the protect with
Yeah,
Heatran and Buzzwole. So
yeah, they both had a good back and forth, and they both had great sets. They both had hacks. Overall, it was just a hacks-filled game, but also a fantastic game, putting them both quite high. But I feel like Dream Ball would just got the edge because of how they played compared to not scored.
all right. And with that, we move into the top four. Now, 2 through 4, we had interchangeable again. Like this is week 1. This is going to happen a lot. I think as the weeks go along, they
Yeah,
might tend to go more toward being similar to each other.
yeah,
So for right now, they're going to vary a little bit, and then, but it might get redundant if they're the same over and over again. So,
yeah.
but again, these are our own personal opinions, and we're doing it based off of what we see. So, based on that, I had We Disney at 4, and you had Drinking Birds at 4. I had Flawless at 2, you had them at 3, and then you had We Disney at 2, and I had Drinking Birds at 3. So why don't we talk about your four first? That's Drinking Birds.
Yeah. Drinking Birds. They played really well against Jamie, and I honestly thought they had it in the bag. Well, they did get it in the bag, but I honestly thought they had it in the bag a lot earlier into the game.
Mm-hmm.
But with the whole allowing, well, not allowing, but with Jamie, the way Jamie played and managed to pull it back that much, I didn't feel like I could put them above Flawless and Disney, who both were in control of their game the entire, throughout their matches. So they kept their high differential wins. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely loved the Water Pledge and Grass Pledge combo. It's a shame it wasn't pulled off, like with the actual effects, but I really liked that they was put into consideration and not completely forgotten.
Yeah, and not just that, but using the speed of the Blastoise to then outspeed the Venusaur to then get that pledge combo to work out, as well as outspeeding the Team Jamie's Blastoise to make sure they got the fake out off, is just great prep. And not just that, but the AV Lando with the perfect EVs to
Yeah,
live. I mean, it was a role to live the breakneck blitz. You see that in the recreations and whatnot. But
yeah, it was a
first place, it was huge. And the fact, so they got that, they got the outspeeding the Blastoise while underspeeding the Excadrill, so they could kill that in Trick Room. They had um, the Venusaur, unfortunately missed the sleep powders, but still with Grass Pledge and being able to get everything there. Um, the double kick, I
yeah.
love it.
Double
I've
kick was
used it
great.
before. I absolutely love double kick Pheromosa. Um,
Being able to break a Chopper
just
Berry if the Tyranitar was running one.
exactly.
Very
Um,
good, very good prep.
yeah, the prep was absolutely phenomenal, which is why I had them higher at 3. Um, besides the actual gameplay, which they were working together pretty well, um,
Yeah,
and they were able to Best one of the better teams in Team Jamie. I mean, they got 3 guys over there, so I mean, here two is better than 3, I guess.
Freeze a crowd.
Yeah. All
But
right. So and then
I overall, just because of the fact that Team Jamie were able to pull ahead, this is why I put them lower than We Disney and Flawless. They did
I had yeah,
they
I
did
had
play
Disney at
amazing.
4. Yeah, I had Disney at 4. I mean, all of these 3 teams, again, everything's can be moved around in any which way. We're
Yeah,
not this isn't saying one team is better than the other when it comes to week 1.
yeah. It's just saying that the weeks to come could drastically change this.
Yeah. And so I'm not knocking Disney by putting them at 4, like under Drinking Birds or Flawless. They could be at 2, like Tailwind has them. They could be at 3. They could like, but
Yeah,
we know they are definitely in that 2 through 4 range. It's just hard to place people in week 1. So like they worked, like Shofu and Duncan worked incredibly well, especially against subs. They definitely had the better matchup.
yeah,
100% had the better matchup, which is why I picked them before in
yeah.
pick'ems. But and the way they were able to use to
Well, the Soul Valley Ghost was used amazingly.
oh yeah, that was also part luck as well
Yeah,
from subs not knowing it was Ghost. But the fact that they had it and they had the idea of bringing Ghost, especially against the Hitmontop, is very, very good. Hitmontop Mew, they're able to 2-hit KO that Mew, and parting shot is great to get people out. They had the It's a little unfortunate that Shofu forgot the
Z
Z
Crystal.
crystal. That's
Yeah,
kind of why he forgot to put the Poisonium Z
but it
on,
didn't
which
really
is
matter in the
one
end
reason why
because, well, I guess it kind of did. They could have used it later on, but they would have burned it that turn anyway, so it didn't really matter in the long run.
yeah, but I think they also have to just be aware that once thing. I mean, they realized this before,
Yeah,
so I mean, it's beating a dead horse when I say, uh, like you have to make sure that you put the Z crystal on after it gets traded,
yeah,
but because you can't trade the Z crystals, but otherwise.
yeah,
Yeah, otherwise everything else went really well. They used the team incredibly well.
yeah. They made all the correct switches. They knew, like with the lantern, they knew that there was no risk in just clicking Icy Wind until that Crobat went down. And when subs brought in the Lucario on the Icy Wind, making it slower, that just made it all the much easier for the
Yeah,
rest of the game.
and I can definitely say this: I will not underestimate Duncan and Shofu again. So much for that B rating.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, they've shown that they can use their team. They knew to keep around Magmortar. This is all
Yep.
reasons why I put them at 2. They knew what they were doing throughout the match. They knew what they needed to do to get the win. They knew what they needed to do to keep the win a high differential. You know, like making sure the Magmortar didn't take any damage so it could completely deal with the Lucario. You know, stuff like that, which is why I have them at number 2 over like 3 and 4. Okay, so Flawless I have at number 2, and Wits has in number 3.
Yeah. So flawless. I mean, what else to say?
Yeah,
Sticky webs, Magirna,
just rip
and they
through
were
a
able to
team.
bring it back between yeah. And I mean, the hacks was good. They got double ancient power boosts, so that's something.
It was very scary to watch because when I first watched the match, I hadn't seen the team builder before watching the match. So when I saw that, I was honestly expecting a sweep from the Tokus, but upon seeing the team builder, I knew that wasn't the case. But you know, setting up those sticky webs at the right time, you know, was just perfect. It allowed them to, you know, get them again a sweep off. You
Yeah,
know,
I feel like the differential would have been a little bit higher if they didn't run out of time.
yeah,
On when because there was the time where Togekiss clicked the follow me when he wanted to click the roost, but they ran out of time. But
yeah,
I feel like that's something that can be figured out in the future as well. I mean,
yeah,
timing is a very big thing. So because you don't want to just get stuck using the wrong move that you don't want to use. I mean, we
yeah,
could have had But I mean, Aegislash, there's a good chance it was going to do a lot of damage, if not kill it anyway.
Yeah,
Um, so with an Iron Head, because hell, it's base one the attack.
stab.
So stab.
But it wasn't it at that point a +2, so I think it could have
Yeah, it was
lived.
at plus two.
Yeah, it could have lived if it
It,
got the
it could have
roost.
lived it.
Um, but other than that, there's not really much to say, as it was just the Magina ripping through a very competent team in Team Juice. They played it well. I'm not saying that Team Flawless are bad and they only won because they had Magina. I'm saying that they set it up well. They played around the Team Juice's team, knew what to kill, and then just proceeded to sweep, not proceeded.
Yeah.
uh,
Persuaded to steep.
but yeah, so it worked out in their favor. They got what they needed to do. They're up. They got their webs, and in the end, it just was in their favor. There wasn't much really else they could. Well, I guess they could have changed if Magina was taken out sooner. But with her 5 kills and Magina being number one on the kill leaderboard, it's honestly not surprising.
Agreed.
So
All
let's
right. Well,
move on to number one.
all right. So we both had Cyberbaz at number one,
Yeah,
and it was just pure annihilation.
yeah, it was in their favor.
It was it was
I,
get in, get out, and that was it.
Yep, I will say, Cyberbaz, you guys are disgusting. That Raichu shouldn't exist, but it was beautiful, but disgusting. You monsters. But I loved it. Fling, King's
Yeah,
Rock, and
it was
Fake Out.
such a great tech to, especially to get rid of something as scary as Mega Metacham,
Yeah.
and just props, just props to you guys. Like
They played it.
I
They
can't, I
played
can't,
it fantastically. They knew what they needed to do. They pulled it off perfectly, and they just got their nice 5-0 victory for week one. There's not much really you can say after when watching it. You know, there were misplays on Mythical's side, but the way that Raichu not being alive would have changed the game quite a lot. But it didn't happen, and we've got a rank based on what did happen, which means Cyberbears take the number one spot for week one. You know, they played fantastically. They got 5-0. There wasn't much that went bad in that match.
prep was great. Like
Yep.
all right, so and with that, that is the end of our power rankings. If you guys want, you can leave yours in the comment section down below. We can check in, see how you guys are doing with that. Be sure to come back every Thursday, watch the power rankings, and then watch every other video here on the Multi Battle League channel. So signing off, this is Wits,
And this is Tobin.
and we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.